it sounds like the little girl is overwhelmed.
Yeah. And like maybe it's not gonna happen like right away that she's gonna be like all talking and laughing and having a much fun like right away. But maybe like just a little time to work on it. Like, hey, my name is whatever. You're gonna be staying with me for a little bit. I want to get to know you. You know, like.
And overwhelm kind of fits right into the fear.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about with the afraid of schooling. And so, if you're in a foster care, you didn't bring your painting to mom and mom said, that's horrible. What it feels like is you are horrible because you can't be with mom and dad.
Yeah.
So now it's more of a, whoa, I'm afraid to not show my value, but to show me, to give my heart in connection.
Like, probably.
And I would imagine that's probably a common thing with foster care kids, because something is going on that they can't be with mom and dad.
They probably got like the message, I'm not good enough.
So, if somebody's afraid to actually be themselves, how do we get through that?
Like, they probably got the message. Like, the kid probably got the message from the mom or the dad or the parent or whatever that they're not good enough. So if you're going to be taking care of them for quite a bit, then you're probably going to want to show them, like, I know what you've been through, but I'm different. I don't think you're not good enough. I think you are good enough.
Well, one of the things that the 5 elements training teaches us, and actually this is nonviolent communication applied in that, is that validation. Can you tell us what validation is? It means I'm okay and I'm normal. So if somebody doesn't feel okay, they feel not good enough, what they need is validation. So validation just means your actions, your experience, your feelings are okay and they're normal. So the example I always use in clinic is, and I use this just because it's a little bit extreme, and most people wouldn't be able to keep their calm and be validating, but, oh, hi, it's Savannah. I see that you've started the couch on fire. How interesting it is to start the couch on fire, and warming and exciting. Look at that wall blaze. It's not okay, though, to start a fire in here. If you want to start a fire, let me take you to, well, let's put this fire out. Why don't you grab the fire extinguisher and let me show you how to put a fire out, and then I'll go show you where we do a fire. So teaching people how to get what they want through validation, which validation, in order to do that, you have to put myself, so I could see you standing next to the couch, and I could say, oh, she's a bad person, she's evil, but I don't think that exists in most of modern culture. I won't ever say never, won't never say never, but I think people are basically good and act bad when they feel afraid and overwhelmed and things like that. So I could also see her standing by the fire and go, she's really interested in fire. Maybe she was cold to set the fire. Fires are pretty. We sit and every person on this planet sits and gazes into a fire and loses themselves in the magic of the fire. So, how would validation sound to this little girl who's ignoring somebody? Well, what do we do first? I see the couch is on fire. What do you see with the little girl?
I see you're ignoring me. I see you're not responding.
Not talking, not looking at me. She must want, or she must feel.
You must feel like afraid.
I see that you're not talking to me and not looking at me. Do you feel like nobody thinks you're good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You also said afraid, overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all ways to connect. How do we teach her that this situation is going to be safe and that she's going to be okay? We're already teaching her that a little bit by doing that.
So she's probably like thinking, I can't be myself because last time that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
We want to like get away so that she can feel like this person isn't my mom and I can trust her because she like give her a reason, like give her a reason that she can trust you.
Okay. So, I can't be myself. I've done that. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, we need to give her a reason to trust in this new situation. How do we give that reason? How do we give her a reason to trust?
Well, I guess being a kid and like looking into my interests, or like fun things, going out for ice cream, like going to Fun Depot and like other fun places like that. Like she's probably like thinking I'm in this dark, scary place, and she's probably in a dark, scary place in her mind. And nobody likes her. She doesn't want to get hit. Like she doesn't want to be herself because that didn't work out last time.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's all scared.
And so you're saying, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Here's how I'll prove it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You name what you want to do, to eat, and you can put boundaries around something like that. You can say, obviously we can't just
like
play 24 hours a day, but I want to make sure that you have your choice here, here, and here. So, I pick her up. The intention is to connect. If the connection is not there, you do the validation. I see that you're not looking at me or not talking to me. You must feel like, people have shown you that you're not good enough for them, not important. You might feel a little scared right now. And I'm going to prove it to you that you are important. And starting right now, number one, you tell me what you'd like to have for a treat or would like to go do, and I'll make it happen. So that's a starter. Obviously, there might be somebody who's so scared that they just won't even tell you. And you just have to keep coming back around to empathy. How scary it must be. What kind of things happened. Maybe I don't know how much you learn or know about the child in foster care, if you know that they've been abused or what the story behind that. But I think coming back around to the validation, empathy, teaching is a good plan there. All right, next one is defiant, and this is the little girl, 2 years old. Whatever you tell her to do, she will make sure that that gets done, or whatever you tell her not to do, she will make sure she goes and tries to do that. And the parents are afraid because some of it is dangerous. Climbing up onto cupboards and counters and things like that when she's 2. But she's just being very defiant. So what do you do about defiance? This would apply to 16-year-olds as well as 2-year-olds.
I would say just don't tell them not to do it, but then it's like when you get older, like when you're like 7, then you're like, but there was never a boundary set. You never told me I couldn't do that. Like, because it's everything that you are saying not to do, just doing. So maybe you should
just
say,
do reverse psychology and,
yeah, maybe.
hey, honey, why don't you climb to the top of the refrigerator? Let's see if you can make it. And you spot her. And then when she falls and gets hurt,
She won't do it.
she has learned. Now that brings up a great. Speaking of micromanaging, I'm sure you've heard us talk about the concept of natural consequences, right, versus imposed consequences.
Yeah.
So this makes me think of micromanagement, and if we've got a whole pattern of up yours, that's what defiance is. It's like, you can't tell me what to do. Perhaps there's this irritation over micromanagement and getting back to natural consequences.
Yeah.
And so you have to take this case by case and consider, like, have we in fact been micromanaging? Have you been saying, no, you can't do that. Oh, don't touch that. Oh, don't do this. Oh, don't do that. To the point, potentially that she's started this defiance where you could actually just go, oh, okay. You want to go outside with no shoes on? Great. There's natural consequences for that. Your feet get cold. Let them experience the natural consequences. Let them learn the lessons. Feel the lessons, right?
Yeah.
There's much more value than trying to micromanage that person.
Same. Well, one time I stubbed my toe on and got cut by glass on my foot because I didn't wear shoes. It's gonna be much, like, it's gonna be easier for them to understand that. Like, they're just gonna be like, oh, whatever, they don't want me to do it. They just don't want me to do it.
And I think that's an understood fact, is that, like, you have to have the experience to gain the lesson.
Yeah.
You can't pass it on.
You can't just assume.
Somebody's got to have the experience anyway. So I like it. I like it. And you give it a shot, and I would be shocked if it didn't work. When she's visiting, you go, hey, I wonder if you can get all the way to the top of that refrigerator up there. Let's see you. And now you're an ally. You're actually supporting her in her little adventure. And then down the road, maybe we put some more guidelines and boundaries on the adventure. But in order to break the pattern where she's like so angry at you guys, potentially for micromanaging, become her ally. There you go. All right, do you have any more for the defiance? How else can we?
If you want to, like, start it off as something more like, here's what you can, like, after, like, you've gone through the whole experience thing, here's what you can do. Like, not just like, here's what you can't do. You can't do this and this and this. You can. Like,
yeah, that's good. Sometimes we just get tired of hearing what we can't do and turn it around and teach them what they are able to do can be helpful.
And like making some, like for example, making things that they can't do may be possible for them to do. Like they want to get a cup. The cups are up high and they're glass. You can't climb on the counter. I'll get the cup for you. You could maybe put some little kid glasses, plastic glasses, in like a drawer or something that she can reach, you know?
We have another 2.5-year-old, another 2-year-old. This little girl won't stay in bed. We put her in bed, she gets up, put her in bed, she gets up. 10 times, it's a nightly struggle. What do we do about this?
Maybe.
Besides yelling and spanking. That's the whole point, is we're teaching parents how to do it so they like it better.
Yeah. Maybe you could figure out, like, what's wrong? Why aren't you going to sleep? Is there something wrong that we need to figure out? Like, like, are you cold? Are you too hot?
What do you think she might say?
Mm,
Why is she up? Guess.
maybe. Then, like, other things, like, there's a monster under my bed, like, stuff like that. Like, there's a ghost in my closet and I can't go to sleep because it'll come out and eat me. Like, stuff like that you can't really change.
Yeah.
You could kind of say, like, maybe give her another option, like, an option here, like, what Gates has, like, here's a sleeping bag on the ground in my room, you can come in here if you want, if you don't want to sleep in your room tonight. Like, and that can be an option. Like,
so let me just repeat that and make sure it's understood.
Yeah.
To give them an option where they have an alternative place to sleep. We have we don't have any additional space in our bed anymore because we have one little one in the bed and then with Sonia and I. So there's a little soft sleeping bag pad next to the bed that Gates can come in and lay on. Or Amory, whoever, every once in a while they both come in. That's more for waking up in the night though. This is the getting to sleep.
Yeah.
So, and that's still good, but I'm just wanting to make sure we cover this lady's issue too. So, ask her what's wrong. She's probably scared. Now,
and like,
how do we respond to somebody who's scared?
Like, sort of doing the same thing, but like ahead of time. Like, if you don't want to sleep in there, you can come sleep right here. Like, doing that sort of.
Now let's remember that she's 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
And what does she really want?
Not to go to bed. Because that.
What do those little ones cling to?
Their moms.
Moms, right? So I know I'm leading you on this one. What we have done in our family has been, even to age 5, is we spend that time with them. Now, I didn't completely appreciate my time with Savannah when I was laying with her, and we didn't always lay with her, and we had the same struggle. And we had a lot of those nights. And we did cry it out when she was a baby. We were trying everything. What we have done for every other kid, sorry Savannah, is that we stay with them. And Savannah's now 11, and I don't get to snuggle with her anymore. I mean, we still do some, but it's not like that little body. Now when I snuggle with her, it's she's about almost as big as me. So my recommendation is to put more appreciation into that time and see it on the grander scheme, that it's not going to be that long and she's not going to want to snuggle with you anymore. So I still sleep with or lay with the twins. If it goes past 15, 20 minutes, I'll give them some calming tincture the next day, something like passion flower, skullcap, lemon balm. These are plants that have calming effects on brains and bodies. But typically it is around 15 minutes of cuddling, of holding, and then she falls asleep and you slip away, versus up 10 times, and then you get, really focus on that, like, this is the time where you can cuddle that little girl, and it won't be that way forever. So, but I like your insight of, what's wrong, but we know what's wrong. Yeah. She wants her mama. That's probably it, and she might be having some imagination things.
But that's probably when they're older, like when they're 5. Well, not 5, but like.
I'm not sure. I don't remember age 2. How much our imagination goes about the closets and the what's under the bed. But that would be our recommendation, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this one's a good one and a big one. Transitions. So transitions are anything from playing to, leaving, to having dinner, to doing chores, switching from one thing to the next. This is this person wrote in and said they're letting the child play video games, which are quite addictive. Some of them are really exciting too. I'm not sure what video games they were. But then to transition to something boring like dinner, that is a toughie. And a lot of times they'll get a total meltdown. And they set a clock with a ringer. And as soon as that clock goes off and the ringer rings, the child's really upset. So, and this applies to all transitions. How do you make transitions easier?
Well, if you're going from something like it might be hard to change your schedule for some people, but if your schedule is flexible, then you should probably put something in between them that gives a little bit more flexibility, like family game time. You could go from video games and then go to, so maybe you can have you can play video games for an hour, then family board games are for the next hour. We'll give you a warning when they start. You can come down whenever you're ready, but please be down at least by dinner. So then they have something like you were stretching it, you played all family board games, so now it's time to come down for dinner. Yeah.
I think you might want to put in a boundary.
Yeah.
So that they can't just go right over at the family game time.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of transition, and I like where you're going with this. So it's like, especially when you're transitioning from something to really fun to less fun, that there be some sort of an intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing about video games is that there's kind of no end to them. That you just hit restart and you just hit restart, or some of them just kind of go on and on. So choosing an activity that has a clear, distinctive start and finish on its own, like a family game, Twister, it ends when somebody falls down. And it might be fun enough that and kids love the interaction with their family too, of course. So it's time for WrestleMania. I know my kids love to wrestle. Now that I have 5, it's hard to get them all on the bed without having some major injury. But they love wrestle time. And there's a few games that we've made. Wiggle Bridge, Cave of Goblins. Wiggle Bridge is where I lay down and just kind of go back and forth and shake them off. It's like a bucking bronco kind of thing, but I'm flat. And Cave of Goblins is where I hide in a blanket and call them over and capture them. Usually we have some
like
stupid little dialogue. I'll say, "Oh, come, I have some candy," and then I trap them in the blanket and tickle and that kind of thing. There's a clear start and a clear finish. It's fun. Something I thought of that has a clear start and a clear finish that I don't think would ruin a dinner would be, hey, it's Hershey Kiss time, or it's M&M time. And you get 2 M&Ms, and it's exciting enough to change momentum, but it has a clear start and finish. That then there's a nice transition. And I know some of the things that are helpful, or one of the things that is helpful with transitions too, is always like doing like a countdown. I think a lot of parents know that, but just as a reminder, all right, 2 minutes to go. All right, 1 minute to go. Whereas the timer with the bell might even be like kind of a harsh reality of, oh no, I know that's how it feels for me in the morning. Harsh reality of starting life again, or getting out of bed. I like that. So having a little transition in between. Here's a little boy who has a double ear infection. Parents try to give the medication for the ear infection, and the child refuses, throws a fit. Parents get upset. What do we do without yelling when we want? Because that happens with us sometimes. We don't have a lot of trouble with West. Sometimes he won't take his medicine. Now sometimes we use natural medicine, so we can use it topically. I've used it topically as well. I don't know if that's true of pharmaceutical. Probably not. You probably have to get that stuff in. So what did the family do without yelling?
Well, I think it's just like the kids probably thinking, oh no, oh here comes the awful medicine that I don't want to take, it's not fun to take, stuff, you know. So maybe like something to look forward to after, like if you want to go to if you want to get this after, you want to do this after, you need to take this first. Like, kind of what you do with, like, the chocolate M&M things, like...
Yeah, we have used treats post-medicine because we believe it to be worth the difference.